What's going on? And in this video, I'm going to be going over the follow-up technique and process that can allow coaches, consultants, closers at 30% onto their cash every single month. So this is the Sales Accelerator framework, the framework I use with all of my clients, but we're not going to go through all of that today. What we're going to go through is the systemized follow-up routine that I followed when I was a closer and that I implement into every single client I work with. So let's get straight into it. A lot of people think follow-up isn't that important, but as you've probably already heard, when I was a closer, 30 to 40% of all of the income I brought in for businesses was through follow-up. So if you're sleeping on follow-up, you're missing out on so much for your business. Now, what I want to stress is things are systemized. That's why I start off with a systemized follow-up routine. So to get straight into it, first thing you want to prioritize is 3 pipeline blocks every single week minimum. And the reason I say 3 pipeline blocks every single week is it has to be a set thing. It has to be systemized. You can't just have, oh, I'm going to do follow-up today. Oh yeah, today I feel like doing follow-up, because it's just not going to work. It has to be something like the gym. You do it even if you don't feel like it. You do it whatever happens. It's in your calendar. So what I would suggest is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in these pipeline blocks, what you want to be doing is sifting through your CRM, sifting through your list of hot leads to cold leads. And the first thing I want to stress is priority of urgency. With these pipeline blocks, the way you want to structure them is you want to go into your CRM and you want to start with the hottest leads. Okay, so you want to go for the deposits or the offer made waiting for answers or the short-term follow-ups, people who are set to potentially close in a week's time. And once you've sifted through all of those people, the hottest lead, then you can go to more of the cold leads, people who maybe haven't got a set time when they are going to close. Maybe people who said they're ready to close in a month's time, or maybe they won't have the money for 2 months. Then you want to just message, check up with all of these people, make sure they're still at the top of your mind and they actually remember you. Okay. So just to recap, 3 pipeline blocks every single week minimum, maybe more if you want to really go hard on your pipeline, if you have a really big pipeline. Sorting from urgency, so warm to cold, starting off with maybe people with a deposit, people who've said, I need to think about it, I need to speak to my partner, people who have a follow-up call booked. And in this section, it's really important that the CRM is clean. No point having a CRM that's all over the place, that you don't really track leads going in for a pipeline block, because you're not going to know who to go first, right? So when I say clean, clear CRM, you want to make sure that you have all the relevant pipeline opportunities, whether it be booked call, follow-up call booked, offer made waiting for answer, deposit, no-show, short-term follow-up, medium-term follow-up, long-term follow-up, all of the relevant sections, so that you know, okay, this person is in this section, okay? And you have the notes below under every single lead, knowing what happened on the call. Because if you have this, it's going to be easy. You can go through your pipeline blocks and you know exactly where each lead is, okay? You can sift through easily. Because if you don't have this, it's going to be toast. Now, next one is the actual way you follow up. And I don't want to just have a generic way of following up, because everyone is used to this. Everyone is used to saying, oh, I'm just following up. It's salesy, it's stupid, and no one's going to listen to it. So I want you guys to follow a value-based follow-up. And by value-based follow-up, I mean actually care about the lead, actually show the lead that you really want to help them. Okay, so build a relationship with them instead of just saying generic things like, oh, just following up. And how can you do this? Right, first way is a custom Loom video. What I like to do, this is more short term after the call is finished. Let's say someone says they need to think about things, or maybe they got a follow-up call booked in 2 weeks. All right, what I would do is I'd send a custom Loom video going over what we went over on their call, going over what we feel like a good solution for them would be. So just recapping what we went over the call. And what that does, it just makes them feel, wow, this person actually listened and they actually want me to do well. So for example, let's say someone works a strenuous 9 to 5, 10 hours a day, but they want to lose weight, and we have a weight loss training program, whatever. I would send a custom Loom video saying, hey John, I had a really good chat. Just to recap on what we went over, your situation is X, Y, Z, and the main solution I feel like would really help you is structuring your calorie counting after your 10-hour day job in the evening, just when you put the kids to bed, so you have enough time to really focus on it. And then on Sunday, that's when you could really meal prep your food and really just set up yourself for the week. Very vague example, but it just shows you've actually really thought about their solution. Okay, that's a good example of value-based follow-up. You could also do this maybe long term. Let's say you've not spoken to someone in 3 months. Okay, you could say, "Hey John, I was just going over the database. We look at all of our past calls, and I remember X problem. I was just wondering if you managed to find a solution for XYZ issue, or this is an updated solution that we've just come up with. I hope this helps." It's just off the top of my head, but just creating a Loom video or a voice note or a message that really just shows someone you are thinking about their problem. Okay. Another one is sales assets and training. By sales assets, I mean the content that you put out on your YouTube channel or on your Instagram or your Facebook that's going to nurture people even more. So this could be training. This could be objection handling content. So for example, let's say you just release a new video on the best new technique to get clients for coaching businesses, and you want to send that to someone it might relate to. Let's say you jumped on a sales call with someone a week ago or a month ago who was struggling to get clients with their coaching business. You could just pop up saying, "Hey John, just posted a new video on XYZ. I remember you were facing XYZ issues, so I thought this would help. Let me know what you think." And what this does, it just shows people you're thinking of them, okay? It's not saying, "Oh yeah, do you want to buy my product? Do you want to jump on another call?" It's just putting you at the top of their minds. So it increases the chance for them to message saying, "You know what, this does help. Can we jump on another call?" And as you can see, it must be personalized. You can't just send random videos and say, "Oh yeah, here's a video just to help." I mean, you can, but it doesn't have the same effect. So this works the best when you tailor it to their problems and send them a video based on their problems. And this is why having a clear CRM is important, because if you have the notes on a prospect 3 months ago that you forget their problem, you can see their problem on the notes and you can tailor it to a sales asset or a training video. Another one is voice notes. It reminds of the connection built on the sales call. So if you send a quick voice note saying, "Hey John, I was just going through the database and I came across your name," or "Hey John, we were actually speaking about you on a team meeting yesterday. How's things?" So instead of just a generic message that everyone sends, you can send a voice note, and it shows that you're taking the time out of your day to actually speak to them, and it reminds them of the connection that you guys built on the original sales call. And last one on the value-based follow-up is authentic interactions. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Comments on posts, stories, etc. Not even selling some of the time. So let's say you have a lead on Instagram or on LinkedIn or Facebook. You can just comment on their post saying, "Oh, congratulations on this, that." Or let's say someone went on holiday. "Oh, sick, looked amazing. How was your holiday?" Just being a friend, being someone who's there, being someone that's actually checking up on them. And what that does, it's a very non-salesy way of bringing up the conversation of where they last left things. So for example, let's say you say, "Oh yeah, how was your holiday? You have a good holiday?" "Yeah, it was great." "Oh yeah, I've been to Greece as well. I've been to XYZ." Building a relationship. "Oh yeah, by the way, did you manage to find a solution for XYZ problem? Or did you manage to have a think of what we talked about?" So instead of just popping up saying, "Oh yeah, did you manage to have a think about what we talked about?" which is very salesy, you can start off with a really genuine conversation, and the follow-up, the actual following up, just rolls off the tongue. Now, the next point in the systemized follow-up process is that consistency is absolute key. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say, "Oh yeah, you use one of these techniques and they're just going to jump on a call and close." That definitely can happen, but most of the time you have to be really consistent. And by consistent, I mean following up with people potentially for 6+ months. For example, this guy, he was in the pipeline for about 11 and a half months with the last offer I was closing on. And I was messaging him, building relationship, commenting on his stories. And this was after about 4 months of follow-up. This guy didn't have the money. And he says, "What's up, man? Looking forward to our next call, doing everything I can to be ready as possible." And he was ready to close because I built up the relationship over a matter of months. And then in September, he says, "And I'm ready. Can you send me a link to make a $2,400 payment?" And then, absolutely, thank you, Tom, for being on top of this. So leads are actually thanking you for messaging and following up over months and months and months. A lot of people will be a lot shorter than this, but there are going to be leads that you do have to follow up for a long time. And it definitely will help if you just include these leads in your pipeline block every 3 weeks. So you should get the point. Now, last one is nurturing an image. I message all of my leads on most of the offers I've been on, most of the coaching companies I've closed for with Instagram. So after every sales call, I've added them on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, so they can see that I'm a real person, so that they can be reminded of me. Okay, so Instagram stories. Every single time I post an Instagram stories, a lot of past leads would pop up and say, "Oh yeah, just relate to me on the Instagram story." But what this is doing is it's nurturing them. They're not just seeing the founders' Instagram stories or content. They're seeing you as the closer, or if you're the coach yourself, they're seeing your Instagram stories. Okay, so you're nurturing them. So posting Instagram stories, making sure they can see it. That's why it's so important after every sales call to make sure they have all of your socials on there. And the last one on this is you've got to make sure you have a good profile. You've got to make sure your profile is optimized, because we're in a trust deficit economy at the moment. In the coaching space, in the online business space, there is a lack of trust. So people don't know who they can trust. So if you have a good profile, then it's really, really key, and it's going to really help you. So for example, blue tick, really good to have. Just psychologically builds trust. Clear profile picture, a clear bio, an all right ratio of followers, a decent profile. So decent colors, fair few profiles, fair few pictures, social proof, you with different people, you in different countries, whatever. So make sure you don't have a crappy profile, because if you have a crappy profile, people aren't going to trust you. Last thing I want to go through before we call this a day is follow-up should equal genuine connection. It shouldn't just be transactional. You're just messaging to get some money out of people. It's really important to reframe this and actually think of this as helping people. Same with sales calls. You want to approach every single follow-up like, you know what? I know I can help this person. I'm going to help them as much as possible. So I hope this helped. This is pretty much how to add 30% into your coaching business, your closing income, everything. Let me know if you have any questions, Bosh.